Alright, so I am back here in my garage slash workshop, and I gotta make some adjustments to my oxalic acid treater. And the last time I used it to treat my hives, the JB weld cracked right around the tube. And now that I've seen how it cracked, it was pretty thin. The material here was pretty thin. I don't know if I got that camera in any closer. See, there wasn't much there holding that tube in place. And I believe when I turned the thing over to tap the oxalic acid down out of the cap, I probably put a little bit of stress on that pipe, and when it bent up, it just cracked it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up some of the excess JB weld that's around the bottom here, and I'm going to scratch this all up, and I'm going to make some sort of form, I think, to fit over the tube, and then I'm going to make a big buildup of JB weld around the top of this, and we'll see if that holds the tube in place. So I'm going to do some work on this thing, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken this, it's an old margarine tin lid. I've just cut a square out of it and put a hole through it and slid that over the tube. And then I filled that area in behind there with JB weld and built that up quite a bit. And now all we got to do is wait for 24 hours and see how it turns out, and see if that's enough. And if not, then I'll put some more on top of that. But that piece of plastic should hold that in place and make it a lot more stable than what it was before. So, all right. So we'll be back when this is cured. We'll see what happens. All right. So it's been a couple of days. I've got the JB weld all cured on here, and as you can see, there's quite a difference now between what it was like before and what I've got on there now, and that is fairly solid, and I'm hoping that will be enough to hold that tube into place and just keep it there forever and ever. Now I have to figure out, now I've got some muffler wrap here, and I'm going to figure out how to get this on here so that it will stay. One thing I don't like about this muffler wrap is that it frays quite a bit. You can see the ends coming out there. So what I might do is, I've got a little bit of JB weld left. I might get this all wrapped on there nice and snug, and then take some JB weld and just put it across the ends of the wrap so that it keeps it from fraying. Now this stuff is just wrap. It doesn't have any resin impregnated into it, so it's not the kind of wrap that you can get that I've been looking up about. There's a wrap you can get, it's impregnated with resin, and you dip it in water for a few seconds, and then you wrap it on and get it hot, and the resin hardens, and so on and so forth. This is just plain old fiberglass muffler wrap. Nothing special to it. So I think, yeah, I might just put a little bit of JB weld on the ends after I get it secured in place, and that should keep it from fraying any further than what it is now. So I'll be back when I get that done. Alright, so we've got, I think I have the final version of this, or almost the final version. So I've taken muffler wrap, put it around the base lengthways, and then I wrap around the front as well, and it's underneath the bottom wrap here. And I've
and in order to control the fraying, I just took a bit more of the epoxy and I just put that over the edges where it was fraying up. And now I've just sanded it a bit just to smooth it out a little bit, make it look a little prettier. So I think that is going to work quite nicely. There's enough epoxy on there now to hold that tube in solidly. Shouldn't crack off anymore. And I think the only other thing I'm going to do is maybe shorten this tube by an inch. That wire that's on this thing is very stiff. So yeah, I might want to cut this tube down about an inch or maybe even more, but I'm going to do a little, maybe take a little off at a time and see what works the best. And I think one of the other things I might look into doing now is drilling a hole through the back of the baseboards of my hives, so that I don't have to be in front of the hives when I'm treating. I'm just going to maybe drill a hole the size of that tube in the back and find something to plug it with, and then I can just treat from the back when I need to, and it'll make it a lot simpler and easier. So I'm going to get, perhaps I'm going to get Hive 1 out of storage and fiddle with it and see what I can do with it. Maybe later today if it warms up a bit. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. The epoxy did add a bit of weight to the front of it, but I'm not too concerned about it, as long as it works. So, maybe later today I'll finish up this video with Hive 1, and we'll do a test and see how it works. Alright, be back soon. Alright, so I'm back. I've gotten out my Hive 1, the one that almost died out, which the remainder of the bees are in the rescue hive in the house. And I've drilled a hole just big enough for the tube in the back of the hive. I aim, hit it, and that should be able to slide right in there and treat the bees that way. So what this is going to do for me is going to allow me to just simply close the entrance up here at the front, because I use these sliding entrances. I just slide that shut. I can slide the roof vent shut and treat the bees, and then open them up after 10 minutes, and we should be good to go. However, I didn't bring the roof. What I want to see is how much vapor is actually going to come out of the top of the hive when I turn this thing on. So I'm going to start warming this machine up, and you can see I've got my cap full of oxalic acid here with the right amount in it. And the other thing I've figured out is I was looking around the hardware store and I found these are drywall anchors. They're just little aluminum drywall anchors, and that, just screw that right in there nice and flush, and it seals it up. And then if you want to take it out, just unscrew it. So let's get this heated up and run a test. So we're only at 100 right now, so it's going to be a couple of minutes. So I'm going to just turn the camera off, and then we'll be back when it's hot. Okay, we're getting there, about 2/3 of the way heated up. One thing I'd like to mention is I'm all for this oxalic acid treatment. I didn't know or realize how effective it would be. Yesterday the mite count on Hive 2 was 3. I'm just blown away by how good this stuff actually works. And if you saw my previous videos about the results of the treatments, you can see the really high numbers that were coming out of that hive. And yesterday there was only 3. So this is going to be a part of my normal beekeeping routine from now on, is to use this when it's not honey season. Alright, so I'll be back in a minute. Oh, I'm sorry about my voice today. I've been out hanging Christmas lights, and it's only, yesterday it was like 2, today it's 3 degrees Celsius, which is, about 37 Fahrenheit. So I've been out hanging lights in the cold, and feels like I'm starting to come down with a cold. So, anyway, I'll be back when this is hot. Okay, let's have a go at this. It's pretty close to the right temperature. Got my mask on, so yell if you can't hear me. Got the cap on there. Put that in the hole. We'll see how many leaks my hive has, because it's been all taken apart and all the propolis is broken. Oh yeah, I need time. I see a bit coming out around me. That little tapping I was doing with the stick prior to this was cracking the thin JB weld I had on the front of that, so I think this will hold up just fine. One minute. There's nothing else coming out of there. And we're still at temperature. Alright, so that seems to be successful, but I want to try one more capful of acid without putting it in the box, just to make sure the thing is working. Alright. Alright. Oh, it's coming good. And of course I want to blow it back into the garage. Alright, so I think that was a pretty good test. So I'm going to leave it like this for the time being, and I hope you're all having a good day, and let me know what you think of my Frankenwand here. Alright, talk to you again soon. Bye for now.